On my recent episode with Adam Seeker, I mentioned a book called The Famous but Unauthentic Stories from the Biographies of the Prophet Muhammad. Here's the cover of the book, and this is also the index, and you can see what it covers. I have a download link. Please download it and read it. And also I'm going to go through the age of the first wife of Muhammad, Khadija bint Khuwaylid, and we will discover that scholars have no idea how old she was. What we are sure of is that she was not and could not have been 40. So I'm going to go through the discussion that I had with Adam. So this is a summary, a much shorter summary of the original video. Please read the book, check the references for yourself. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Very briefly, just to set the stage as to what is the seerah. The seerah is known as the biographies of Muhammad. However, the term siyar originally has to do with war. Originally, it meant the wars of the prophets. So the example of Muhammad is the example of warfare. Right. And don't forget, Muslims have to follow his example. It's now commonly used to mean the biographies of Muhammad, but really it's the Gospels of Muhammad. It's the Gospels, like we have the Gospels of Jesus. This is the Gospel of Muhammad. Now, these books were written over 100 years after Muhammad. They were abridged, they were censored, they were edited. Muslims are always accusing the Bible of being changed, being altered. However, we know for a fact that the very earliest biography of Muhammad was heavily edited. It was copied 250 years after Muhammad. We don't know that this is actually history. Now, something to point out, the New Testament Gospels are of critical value in archaeology. Yes, there's the gospel as in the good news. Archaeologists actually utilize the Bible. They actually utilize the New Testament to identify and to place in context things that they find, or to help them look for where they can find places or things. Of course, as you know, the Quran is useless in this regard because nothing has ever been found. Mecca has no artifacts of any value whatsoever. And I think you're all familiar with why that is. So there's historical value in the New Testament. There is no historical value in the Quran. It appears that the Islamic history of Muhammad is inaccurate. So what can be trusted? And archaeology of Muhammad's existence is unavailable for at least 60 years after he died. Nothing about him, supposedly 60 years after he died. We don't know if he was a scandal to them, if he didn't exist. That I'll leave for you to decide. But this is the story of Muhammad, and you'll find that Muslims will say, well, you know, in Matthew, Jesus died at 6:04 p.m. on the cross, but in Luke, he died at 6:03. There's a 1-minute discrepancy, so therefore the Gospels are false. Well, when we look at the Gospels of Muhammad, we look at the Seerah, the biographies of Muhammad, you will find huge contradictions. Let's start with a basic fact of Muhammad's life. How accurate is the Islamic history? Let's have a look. Let's start with his wife, Khadija. Okay.
The first wife, who was married approximately 2 or 3 times before a widow, divorced, depending on
Right.
which reference you would read.
And she was considered a wealthy woman, and she married a 25-year-old Muhammad. Apparently, they had a 15-year difference. So let's look. Muhammad married, as we know, 40-year-old Khadija. And this Islamic scholars will tell us very clearly the report of the marriage of the Prophet to Khadija bint Khuwaylid, while her age was 40, is from the weakest of narrations reported by Al-Waqidi, and it is matruk.
Matruk is not even weak. Matruk is like
Rejected.
yes, like
It's Maudu. It's Maudu.
it's
It's
like
another name for
Maudud, right? So you
yeah.
are telling me, brother, that Khatija, her age 40, was not just a daif hadith, but rather
No,
a matruk madud hadith, means it is a lie and a
correct.
fabrication.
Correct. This is
So,
according to Islam's own scholars, right?
so they are proclaiming the hadith of Khatija being 40 to exalt Muhammad, that look, he married such an older woman to begin with. So if he marries a 9 years old, it doesn't matter. It was Allah's divine will. So you are telling me that they actually took the matruk fabricated hadith to safeguard Muhammad's backside when he married a 9 years old?
Look, yeah.
Uh,
So
I'm not
there.
going to be politically correct. I'm going to say exactly what it is they are doing.
So understand that according to some scholars, and I don't have, again, I like to speak about what I know, what I've researched thoroughly, what I have evidence for. But according to one that I was looking at, the number 40 is of mystical significance within Islam. That's why you have Ali Baba and the 40 thieves. That number has some kind of mystical significance. So she was given the age of 40 as some kind of mystical reason, for some sort of mystical reason within Islam. But let's have a look. So this hadith is rejected because it is considered beyond weak. Okay, it is said by Imam Ibn Kathir that she was 35. He's very clear, 35 or 28. He's extremely certain she was 35 or she was 28 or she was 25. Interestingly, she gave birth to 6 children. A 40-year-old woman today, if you marry a woman at 40 today and you have 6 kids and you have one a year, first of all, you're not going to have one a year, I would think. It's very difficult for women over 40, even with modern medicine, to have multiple children after the age of 40. She gave birth to 6 children when she was 40 in the 7th century. So this strengthens the view that she was definitely younger than 40, as stated by the author. The source here is, oddly enough, an Islamic book called The Famous but Unauthentic Stories from the Seerah of the Prophet Muhammad. Famous but unauthentic. So
Famous, but this is good, man. This is like, I even love the title. Famous
yeah,
but unauthentic. I even love the title, man.
just look it up, okay? So Google this and find this. Now, Hafiz Ibn Kathir said that the other point of view, or the sayings, are incorrect and prove that Hazrat Khadija was only 25 years old at the time of marriage with Prophet Muhammad. Then she can have 6 children. So why would they lie? Why would they create a narrative that clearly is not supported by the evidence? Okay, this is taken from Shahab.com, which, as you know, is a Christian missionary website, so because that's what Muslims are going to tell us, and it's read out of context, whatever. This is from Islamic scholarship, okay, from Islamic scholars. Now, oddly, the age of 30, the age of 45 are also mentioned as an age, but the most widely discussed age are the 40-year opinion, not fact, opinion, and
Opinion.
the 28-year opinion. And this is from another Islamic website where scholars discuss this, and they state she was not 40.
Definitely
Kevin,
not 40. So she would be 25, or she would be 35, or she would be 28. But
8.
the consensus would be like 28 or something.
Yeah, seems like 28. So historians mentioned different ages for Khadija when she married Muhammad, from 25 to 46. So Islam is so certain of her age. She could be 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. That's precision, right? That's precision. Okay.
Absolute precision, brother.
Most of the sources stated that Khadija was 40 years old when she married the Prophet. However, there are reports for the possibility of other ages. Historical sources mentioned the age when she married the Prophet to be 25, 28, 30, 35, 44, 45, or even 46.
And by the way, this paragraph that Brother Lloyd is showing, this is not Sunni paragraph. The above
Yep,
Ibn Kathir was Sunni. This
yep,
one is Shia paragraph.
correct.
So even in Shia Islam, so in Sunni Islam, there is nothing called 45 or 46. In Sunni Islam, it ends at 25, 28, and 35. Shia Islam actually takes to 44, 45, and 46 as well. So this next link, which says 45, 44, 46, is in the Shia books, and I'm sharing the link to you guys for the Shias as
Cool.
well.